Welcome to one of Earth's most mysterious destinations. Behind closed borders lies a nation where stunning mountain peaks pierce clouds, where rivers flow through valleys untouched by modern chaos, and where women possess a grace and natural beauty that defies Western imagination. North Korea remains sealed from casual tourism, yet those rare glimpses reveal something unexpected. The women here carry themselves with an elegance that seems frozen in time, their traditional dress flowing like silk paintings brought to life, their disciplined beauty routines creating complexions that beauty corporations spend billions trying to replicate. But this carefully cultivated image hides realities, so shocking that even seasoned travelers struggle to comprehend what daily existence truly means in this isolated land. What you're about to discover will challenge everything you thought you knew about this enigmatic country. The land that time forgot. The Democratic People's Republic of Korea occupies the northern half of the Korean peninsula, stretching across 120,540 square kilometers of surprisingly diverse terrain. Mountains dominate 80% of the landscape, with the peak-to-mountain rising 2,744 meters as the highest peak, its volcanic crater lake shimmering like a jewel at the summit. This is not the barren wasteland many imagine. Thick forests blanket hillsides, cascading waterfalls thunder through gorges, and coastal areas along the Yellow Sea and Sea of Japan offer beaches that would rival tourist destinations anywhere, if only the world could see them. The Amnok River forms the northwestern boundary with China, while the Tumen River marks the northeastern edge. To the south lies the demilitarized zone, that infamous 4-kilometer-wide buffer separating North from South Korea, the most fortified border on the planet. The country experiences 4 distinct seasons, with summers bringing monsoon rains and winters dropping temperatures to -30 degrees Celsius in some regions. Rice paddies checker the valleys, apple orchards climb hillsides, and ginseng grows in carefully tended plots. The natural beauty here could sustain a thriving tourism industry, yet fewer than 5,000 Western tourists visit annually, each movement monitored, each photograph approved. Where North Korea sits on the world stage. Located in East Asia, North Korea shares its northern borders with China and Russia, positioning itself as a strategic buffer between these powers and the American military presence in South Korea and Japan. The capital Pyongyang sits near the country's western coast, rebuilt after complete destruction during the Korean War into a showcase city of wide boulevards and monumental architecture. The country spans from approximately 37 to 43 degrees north latitude, placing it at similar positions to Northern California or Southern Europe. Yet isolation makes it feel worlds away from anywhere else. The border with China stretches 1,416 kilometers, mostly following those 2 rivers, and this remains the primary gateway for the limited trade that sustains the nation. The Russian border measures just 17 kilometers but provides crucial rail connections. The DMZ cutting across the peninsula represents more than a border. It symbolizes a frozen conflict, families divided since 1953, and the reality that technically the Korean War never ended, only paused under an armistice that grows more fragile each year. This geographic positioning makes North Korea crucial to understanding Northeast Asian politics. Yet the country remains more myth than reality to most of the world. The women who captivate observers. Here is where conventional travel writing stumbles, because discussing the beauty of North Korean women requires acknowledging uncomfortable truths. Yes, visitors consistently note the striking appearance of women in Pyongyang. Their porcelain skin maintained through limited sun exposure and natural skincare traditions passed through generations. Their graceful movements refined through mandatory dance and exercise programs from childhood. Their traditional Chosunat dresses displaying remarkable craftsmanship in embroidery and color coordination. Female traffic officers standing at intersections become unlikely symbols, chosen for their height and looks, their movements choreographed like ballet as they direct vehicles with mechanical precision. University students and tour guides present themselves with carefully applied makeup and styled hair that suggests vanity survives even in scarcity. But here is the reality that makes this beauty heartbreaking rather than merely aesthetic. These women exist in a society where their appearance serves state purposes, where beauty standards are enforced not through advertising but through social pressure and political necessity, where looking your best is not personal choice but civic duty. The famous Moranbong Band, young women in short skirts playing guitars and synthesizers, represents North Korea's attempt at soft power. Their looks as calculated as their repertoire. Behind the carefully maintained appearances lies a society where women face severe restrictions on movement, career choices, and personal freedom. The beauty you observe is real, but it exists within a system that denies these women autonomy over their own lives. 10 shocking realities that define North Korea today. The first reality hits you at the border crossing. Phones inspected, photos deleted, guidelines delivered with smiles that never reach the eyes. You cannot wander freely, cannot speak to locals without minders present, cannot photograph anything deemed sensitive, which includes basically everything outside approved sites. The second reality emerges at night when driving through the countryside. Darkness absolute, no streetlights, no lit windows, entire villages invisible because electricity is rationed to a few hours daily outside Pyongyang. The third reality shows in the bodies. Soldiers standing guard appear inches shorter than their South Korean counterparts. Malnutrition stunting growth. Children in rural areas showing signs of chronic food shortages that the state cannot hide completely. Fourth comes the propaganda saturation. Every conversation circles back to the great leader, every achievement attributed to his wisdom. History rewritten so thoroughly that citizens genuinely believe their nation leads the world in happiness and prosperity. Fifth is the technology gap. While Pyongyang showcases some modern buildings and limited internet access for the elite, most citizens live without computers, smartphones, or any connection to the outside information world. Sixth reveals itself in the absence of elderly people in countryside areas. Life expectancy remains decades behind developed nations. Healthcare exists primarily in cities, and rural populations age quickly under harsh conditions. Seventh appears in the markets. Despite official ideology, informal markets now sustain daily life, women selling homemade goods, Chinese products smuggled across borders, capitalism surviving in the cracks of socialism. The Hermit Kingdom's place in Asia. Across Asia, North Korea is known by various names reflecting different perspectives. The Korean peninsula that remains sealed. The country that stopped in time. The northern half that never opened. In China, it is referred to as Chaosian, in Japan as Kita Chosen, each neighboring nation maintaining careful diplomatic language while privately expressing frustration with the regime's unpredictability. South Koreans call it Bukhan, the northern part, always implied as temporary, a family member estranged but never forgotten. The title Hermit Kingdom fits perfectly, a nation that deliberately severed itself from global integration, that views isolation as strength rather than weakness, that teaches its citizens the outside world is hostile and inferior. Yet this hermit status is crumbling slowly. Chinese tourists visit in larger numbers, bringing smartphones and stories. Defectors number in the thousands now, their testimonies spreading through underground networks and international media. The myth of total isolation cannot survive the digital age completely, even here, where maps end and mysteries begin. Looking at a satellite image of the Korean peninsula at night reveals the shocking truth instantly. South Korea blazes with light, cities connected by illuminated highways, the metropolitan Seoul area glowing like a small sun. Then the border and suddenly almost total darkness. A few specks mark Pyongyang and maybe one or two other cities, but mostly just black where 25 million people supposedly live. Maps of North Korea present their own challenges. Many roads shown on official maps do not exist or remain unpaved. Mountain passes close seasonally. Coastal areas are restricted military zones. Even Pyongyang's maps for visitors highlight only approved destinations. The famous Kumsusan Palace of the Sun, where the preserved bodies of Kim Il-sung and Kim Jong-il lie in state, draws mandatory pilgrimages from all citizens. The Arch of Triumph, slightly larger than its Paris counterpart, commemorates resistance against Japanese occupation. The Tower of the Juche Idea rises 170 meters, topped with a glowing torch visible across the city, symbolizing the national ideology of self-reliance. Korean culture perseveres here in ways both beautiful and tragic. Traditional holidays like Lunar New Year and Chuseok Harvest Festival still bring families together when travel permits allow. Those celebrations now include mandatory tributes to the leaders. The Chosinat traditional dress survives as daily wear for many women, its elegant lines and vibrant colors contrasting sharply with the drab surroundings. Kimchi making remains a national obsession, with every family preparing hundreds of kilograms before winter. The spicy fermented cabbage, one of the few constants bridging past and present. Music and dance maintain prominence, with children trained from young ages in instruments and choreography. Mass performances involving tens of thousands demonstrating organizational capacity that impresses and disturbs observers simultaneously. Life in Pyongyang versus the countryside. The capital, Pyongyang, represents a Potemkin village scaled to city size. Wide boulevards, pastel-colored apartment blocks, the impressive metro system with its chandelier-lit stations resembling palaces, restaurants serving multiple courses, shops stocked with goods, residents dressed stylishly and walking with purpose. Only the most politically reliable citizens can live here, their loyalty rewarded with relatively better living conditions, though even this privilege means nothing by international standards. Families share small apartments, hot water comes irregularly, electricity cuts occur daily, and food supplies depend on the state distribution system that provides basics but rarely abundance. Still, Pyongyang citizens are the lucky ones. Travel 2 hours into the countryside and reality shifts dramatically. Villages of low houses with tiled roofs, roads deteriorating to mud tracks, agricultural work done by hand or with oxen because fuel and machinery are scarce, schools lacking heat in winter and books year-round. Markets here sell vegetables, homemade alcohol, and whatever Chinese goods smuggle through. Medical care means a clinic with a nurse if you are fortunate, traditional remedies if not. Electricity might arrive for an hour in the evening, might not. The divide between Pyongyang and everywhere else exceeds the gap between rich and poor in most countries. It resembles the difference between eras, between the 20th century and the 19th. The cuisine of necessity and tradition. North Korean food culture reflects scarcity transformed through creativity. Rice remains the staple grain when available, though corn, potatoes, and other fillers often substitute during shortages. Kimchi dominates every meal, its spicy fermented crunch providing vitamins and flavor to otherwise bland food. Naengmyeon cold buckwheat noodles in broth represent the most famous dish. Pyongyang's version using thin noodles in a beef broth, though meat is luxury for most. Bindyadik mung bean pancakes fry on street corners, cheap and filling. Soju, the clear grain alcohol, and makgeolli, the milky rice wine, provide escape when food is scarce. In better times, bulgogi marinated beef and galbi short ribs appear on special occasions, though average families might taste meat only monthly if that. Seafood is more available in coastal regions but spoils quickly without refrigeration. Wild foods supplement diets significantly with mushrooms, wild vegetables, and even tree bark entering meals during the worst periods. State rations theoretically provide basics but rarely arrive in full or on time. The government promotes eating 2 meals daily instead of 3 as a health benefit, though everyone understands it is actually about managing scarcity. The architecture of power and pride. Buildings in North Korea make statements. The Ryugyong Hotel towers over Pyongyang at 330 meters, its pyramid shape visible for miles. Construction begun in 1987 and still not fully completed. A monument to ambition exceeding capability. The Grand People's Study House overlooks Kim Il-sung Square with its traditional Korean roof, housing millions of book citizens can access under supervision. Apartment blocks rise in pastel colors, their repetitive designs creating a strange uniformity. Many facades painted while interiors crumble. Soviet-style architecture dominates older sections. Concrete brutalism softened somewhat by Korean aesthetic touches. Monuments everywhere, gigantic statues, triumphal arches, towers topped with red stars. The Juche Tower with its eternal flame. The Arch of Reunification spanning the highway to the DMZ. 2 women in traditional dress, leaning to hold a map of unified Korea. Athletic facilities including stadiums and swimming pools showcase state investment in collective activities. The metro stations deserve special mention. Each stop decorated with murals, mosaics, and chandeliers. Beauty hidden underground perhaps because surface resources went elsewhere. In rural areas, architecture becomes purely functional, low houses with courtyards, minimal decoration, structures built to shelter but little more. This contrast between monumental public works and modest private dwellings reveals priorities clearly. The individual matters less than the collective image, personal comfort sacrifices for national prestige. Language as a tool of isolation. Korean in the north has diverged from the south over 70 years of separation. Pronunciation differs slightly. Vocabulary includes different loan words. Chinese influence stronger here, while English words infiltrate southern speech. The government introduced language reforms, removing some Chinese characters from official use, simplifying and standardizing in ways that create another barrier with the South. Titles of respect multiply when addressing anyone with political authority, a verbal hierarchy matching the social one. Certain words carry different meanings: defection called betrayal, famine called the arduous march, camps for political prisoners labeled revolutionary zones. Newspeak is not fiction here. Language bends to serve political purposes. The unfiltered truth about life here today. Return now to the title's promise, the shocking realities of life in North Korea today. First shock is that life exists at all under these conditions. Second is that most citizens have no framework to imagine alternatives. Their reality the only one they know. Third is the resilience people show, finding joy in small things, maintaining humanity despite dehumanizing circumstances. Fourth is how completely information control works when implemented thoroughly enough from birth. Fifth is that cracks appear everywhere now. Smuggled dramas from South Korea spreading through USB drives, cell phones near Chinese borders catching foreign signals, defector testimonies circulating despite risks. Sixth is the genuine pride some citizens feel for their country. Propaganda so effective that criticism feels like betrayal even when conditions are unbearable. Seventh is how the system sustains itself through fear so pervasive that neighbor watches neighbor, family reports family, trust becomes impossible. Eighth is the role of China in keeping the regime alive, trade and aid flowing across that northern border preventing total collapse. Ninth is the nuclear program, resources poured into weapons while children go hungry, the ultimate tragic priority. The future nobody can predict. Where does North Korea go from here? The young leader Kim Jong Un studied abroad, knows the outside world exists and thrives, yet maintains the same control systems. Limited economic reforms allow markets and private enterprise in shadows. Nuclear weapons provide security guarantees no treaty could match. The population grows younger, more curious, harder to control with old methods. Technology seeps through borders despite efforts to stop it. China's patience has limits. South Korea grows further away in development, making reunification's cost almost unimaginable. Every year the status quo persists seems to make change both more necessary and more difficult. Visiting this country means confronting these contradictions directly, beauty and suffering coexisting, proud traditions and modern horrors intertwined, hope and despair competing in every interaction. Thank you for taking this journey into one of Earth's most closed and controversial destinations. The realities here challenge easy judgments and simple narratives. Please share in the comments which city or country you are watching from and what surprised you most about North Korea. Your perspective matters as we try to understand this complex place. Click the hype button right next to the like button to help this channel grow and reach more curious minds like yours. It costs you nothing but means everything to us, and we genuinely appreciate you taking that moment. Finally, click on one of the suggested videos appearing on your screen now to discover more incredible curiosities about destinations that challenge, fascinate, and expand our understanding of this diverse world we share. Safe travels wherever you are.